Have you ever had that feeling, that moment where a fact, something you thought was solid rock, just turns to sand right in front of you?
That feeling of groundlessness.
Exactly. And that's, I think, the feeling that's really consuming Washington right now. So today, we are going to do a deep dive into what everyone is calling Signalgate. And this goes so much deeper than just politics.
It really does. It's about truth.
It's about a really tragic military strike, a video that has suddenly gone missing, and an absolutely explosive confrontation right there in the briefing room.
And that's our mission here. We're going to peel back the layers on all the source material we have to really get a handle on this clash between the press and the presidency.
Okay.
We're really focusing on three things.
Yep.
First, you have the question of accountability when it comes to lethal military force.
Right.
Second, this just shocking hypocrisy in how military imagery is being used or not used. And third, the really damaging part is what it means to watch history get rewritten, right before our eyes. We need to figure out what signals being sent here.
Okay, let's unpack it. Let's start at the very beginning, because all of this hinges on one deeply tragic event.
It does.
We're talking about a military strike. It happened on September 2nd down in the Caribbean, and sources are confirming this involved lethal force against a boat.
And this is where it gets really just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The sources we have, they all emphasize that this was a second strike.
A second one.
Yes. The first attack hit the boat, disabled it. But then, days later, the second strike came, and that's what reportedly killed 2 sailors who had actually survived the first one. They were essentially shipwrecked at that point.
Wow.
And when you have a situation like that, where lethal force is used in the public's name under such complex, tragic circumstances, the demand for transparency just becomes absolute.
It has to be. And that transparency was, in fact, promised. That's what set this whole thing in motion. When the president was first asked about releasing the video, the footage of the operation, he made a very clear, very public commitment. He told the press, quote, "Whatever they have, we'd certainly release it. No problem."
No problem. Such a casual phrase, isn't it? It's meant to sound like they have nothing to hide.
It sets up this idea of an open door. We're all going to see the footage. We're going to understand what happened. He set that expectation himself.
Intentionally.
But, of course, the video never came. And days later, when a reporter followed up on that explicit recorded promise, that's when we saw the denial.
And it wasn't just a simple denial, it was a complete reversal, and it came with an attack. The president just flatly said, "I didn't say that. This is ABC fake news."
It's a total erasure of something we all heard, something that was recorded and broadcast.
And it didn't stop there.
No. That's what's so interesting. He doesn't just deny it, he immediately deflects. He pushes all the responsibility right onto the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
Saying, whatever Hegseth wants to do is okay with me. Just think about the mechanics of that for a second. What that signals to everyone. You have a recorded fact, it's indisputable. And in 30 seconds, it's dismissed as fake news, the president denies his own words, and the whole thing gets dumped on his Secretary of Defense.
It's terrifying, really. When you watch it unfold, you see that history isn't just being interpreted differently, it's being actively dissolved.
Right.
And that forces you, the listener, to question everything. If a recorded promise can just be erased like that, what facts can you actually anchor yourself to?
The signal being sent is that their narrative is the only truth that matters, even if it contradicts itself from one day to the next.
Which brings us right to Hegseth, and the official reason for why we still haven't seen this video.
Which is, of course, the old national security shield.
Yep. He used that very familiar language, didn't he? He said they were reviewing it right now to make sure sources and methods are protected, and he cited ongoing operations.
It's designed to sound official, to shut down the questions right there. And look, in many cases, protecting sources and methods, how we get our intelligence, how we run operations, that's absolutely vital. But that's where this defense just completely falls apart.
Because of their own track record.
Precisely. The sources we have point to this intense critique of hypocrisy, and a lot of it is being led by former Army Captain and JAG officer Margaret Donovan.
And for anyone listening, a JAG officer is military legal counsel. So her take on protocol, on the proper use of military records, that carries a lot of weight.
A huge amount of weight. And Donovan's point was simple but powerful. Airstrike videos are grim, serious records of lethal force. They are not entertainment. They shouldn't be treated like promotional content.
But that's exactly what critics are saying Hegseth's team was doing for months. The source material is full of details about how his team would use combat footage, videos from actual military operations, almost like highlight reels for social media.
Like clips in a video game.
Yes, they'd curate them, add music, graphics, all to build up Hegseth's online brand.
And there's the core of the hypocrisy. They had no problem treating these incredibly serious lethal operations as marketing material when it made them look tough.
When it made them look good.
They used the visuals of war itself to boost their image.
So if you put that all together, the argument is you can't run the military like a content farm, using these dramatic visuals for political points.
Right.
And then the moment the footage shows a tragedy, something that makes you look bad, suddenly hide behind the very protocols you were ignoring.
The claim of security concerns only seems to apply when the news is bad. If that footage was clean, if it showed a perfect operation, I think most people believe we would have seen it instantly.
And one observer, I thought, just summarized it perfectly. They said this wasn't about protecting sources and methods at all. The video is being hidden because, quote, it is ugly.
That phrase just cuts right through it, doesn't it? It is ugly. It reveals the painful reality of these decisions.
It's a devastating indictment.
And it does raise that bigger question. If we only get accountability when the video is flattering, what does that say about the decisions being made in the first place?
And all this, the lack of transparency, the shifting stories, it created this massive political fallout for Secretary Hegseth. It really became a leadership crisis.
You couldn't stay contained. It was too big.
We started to see some prominent figures speaking out.
Yes, like Republican Congressman Don Bacon. He's a military veteran himself, a very respected voice on these issues. And he said publicly that he had seen enough.
That's a huge statement.
It's a profound vote of no confidence. And Bacon's critique was so sharp because he went right after credibility. He said Hegseth's pattern of blaming the media for his own scandals had, quote, ruined his credibility.
And that's everything in that role, isn't it?
It's the whole job. The Secretary of Defense has to have absolute trust. You need a leader who can own a mistake because the stakes are life and death.
Not someone who, as the source material puts it, backs into a corner and points fingers when they get challenged.
Yeah.
And that inability to own the mistake, I think that's what directly led to that shocking scene in the briefing room.
The escalation.
Yes. When the president was pressed on the basic contradiction, the promise he made versus the denial, he didn't try to clarify. He didn't argue policy. He just attacked.
That's right. He turned on the reporter who asked the question and called her obnoxious and terrible. It's fascinating, if also disturbing, to analyze the mechanism there.
It's a tactic.
It is a tactic, and the sources were very quick to connect this to a pattern. He lashes out with personal insults most aggressively when he gets caught in a lie.
Or in a direct contradiction he can't explain away.
Right. It's a strategy. If the question threatens the narrative, you don't answer it. You attack the person asking it. You try to delegitimize the question itself. It's a dangerous lesson for everyone watching.
And the rawness of that attack, it just triggered this immediate visceral response from the media. I think the reaction everyone's talking about came from Nicole Wallace.
It was completely unscripted.
You could tell she was watching and she called it what she saw it as. Yeah. She said, this is sixth.
And when you hear that from a measured veteran anchor, you know a line has been crossed. It wasn't just unprofessional, it felt cruel.
It shattered the decorum. And the sources immediately put this into a larger context, showing it wasn't a one-off.
No, Wallace and others started listing the other examples. It's a clear pattern.
Just look at the timeline they laid out. In the last few weeks alone, you have Caitlin Collins called stupid and nasty on December 6th.
Katie Rogers called ugly on November 26th.
And another reporter just told, quiet, piggy.
It's horrific.
When you lay it all out like that, one after another, it raises this really profound question about normalizing this kind of behavior. The sources frame it as a danger of normalizing unprecedented misogyny.
The point isn't just that the comments are unprofessional. It's that they specifically target and humiliate women for doing their jobs.
And that's where the question really turns back to you, the listener. The press is facing this dilemma. Are we, as a public, going to accept cruelty and humiliation as the new normal for reporters asking tough questions?
Or will the press corps stand up collectively and refuse to let this become the standard?
So when we pull all the threads of Signalgate together, What began as a fight over a video has spiraled into something much bigger.
It really has. It's become a debate about the country's moral compass. It's why there's this demand to see the video, not to score political points, but because the public deserves to understand the decisions made in its name, decisions that cost human lives.
Exactly. You have to think of the truth here as a lighthouse in a storm.
That's a good way to put it.
You have these waves of fake news claims crashing against it, this dense fog of sources and methods, excuses, the howling winds of personal insults. But that light has to stay on.
Even if it's just an unscripted cry of outrage from an anchor desk.
Right. And that really was the message that echoed across all the source material. It was Wallace's simple statement, "I don't ever want it to be normal."
Because the moment we stop being shocked by this, the moment we accept the open denial of facts or the public humiliation of people just doing their jobs, that's when we're in real trouble.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to really think about. If military accountability for lethal force, if it depends entirely on whether the footage is considered good content for a political brand or ugly evidence to be hidden, what guardrails do we, the public, need to demand to make sure these life and death decisions are never, ever treated like social media tools again?
Something worth exploring on your own.